Okay, I attempted this video once, but it just dragged on. So I'm gonna try to keep it relatively short this time. All right, so I got a video or a request for a video posed to me by somebody on my Facebook website, and I wanted to address it. It's simple and effective winter shelter, and I'm doing this in the spirit of, if you're just meandering through the woods, something happens, or you get lost, you don't have your backpack. I don't see why a normal person would be walking through the woods without a backpack. Even some people that have backpacks, they don't have, you know, cordage and a machete and things like that. So I just want to state that before I go about showing you this shelter. Another thing about this shelter is it is a scale model, because I didn't want to hack up the resources for it if I don't need them, and take down trees that I don't need to take down and things like that, you know. And I don't have a lot of resources here, so I like to, you know, not destroy everything in the process of doing this. So having said that, this is a shelter that I built from my own experience, that I've built before in a winter situation that kept me warm and was effective at doing so. So, here it is in scale size. And, you know, it's relatively simple in construction. The first thing you're going to want to do is, there's these two long beams that go and meet at the back of the shelter. You're going to want to measure those out. Now, I'm not saying use logs. I'm saying use something that will support the weight of the structure. Use common sense. You want to measure those out, your body length and another arm length at least, to make sure that you have room to fit in there, because it is at an angle. I do 2 arm lengths most of the time because I want to fit my gear in. So you'll have those 2 logs laid on the ground. Then you'll get our 2 other saplings. I'll just use the word saplings. That sounds a lot better than logs. So the next thing is to get a V-shaped stick, and you want to get one with a nice deep V. You know, there's a mimosa. You know, any tree with a nice deep V in some of the branches can be used for this. And I just split the shafts of these little reeds that I'm using to build this, because I just don't, like I said, I just don't see the point in building this to full scale if I don't need it, and you know, destroying trees. But so you take your V, your right one, lift it up, put it in the V, stick the V in the ground. Lift the next one up, stick the V in the ground, put the other log in it. Now you want to have like an overhang there so that you can put the front support beam across. And then the next thing I did in the instance, I didn't have cord. I didn't have, you know, materials to tie with, because that was the challenge that was set to me by the person that I was with at the time. So the next part is to put the side paneling on, and you can use as many as you feel is necessary to get this done. I used a bit more than this, but for the purposes of this video, this will suffice. I made an X formation with my support beams on the roof. Now these beams on the side, they're holding the support beams for the roof. And the reason I made an X formation is because you don't want to take, I see a lot of people do this, and they go log, 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 stick, 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 you know, all the way down, and make a solid roof out of sticks. Don't do that. It weighs the structure down, and it will cause it to collapse on you. Alright, so, you know, you make your formation for your thatching. Now, thatching is taking a little bit smaller material than you made your shelter with. In this case, I'm just going to use grass. And you just, you know, take that grass, or, you know, pine boughs, whatever, and you stick that on the top and on the sides. And you just make it to where, you know, it will support smaller materials. It's pathetic when you're kind of running out of grass. But anyways, now you have your thatching. And that'll be your pine boughs and things like that. Messing it up. Alright, so the next thing you'll do is take even smaller materials. Leaves, preferably. But in this case, I'm just going to use bits of dried grass and things that are lying around for the sake of keeping this video short. You know, I just want to, you know, make it work for this video. So that's your next part. It's just kind of, preferably you'd want to tie that stick on. I forgot to mention that. But, or cut a notch in the logs. That's what I did. I cut a notch in the logs for the front support beam. And so then you'll have your thatching and your leaves on the roof. Next thing you'll want to do is find some leaves, something fluffy, preferably. You know, fluffy materials are hard to come by, but, you know, leaves. I don't use pine needles myself, or pine in a lot of my structures, because I don't want to attract bugs that are craving the sap or the smell of the pine needles or whatever. So, getting down to business here, you know, I'm just going to fluff this up and make it look pretty for the video. You will end up with a structure, and like I said, it's not completely filled in. This is to scale, so I'm not really worried about doing it. I'm trying to save time on the video. You'll end up with this kind of structure, and it has a V formation toward the back where you can put your feet and wrap your feet up in some leaves and stuff, and it'll help keep your feet warm. You know, next thing, if you want to build a fire, you know, let's say your fire pit right there. You want to build a burr of dirt or something. You know, in this case, I'm just going to use a pile of leaves. You know, don't use a pile of leaves in real life. Use common sense. But just for the purposes of demonstration, you know, build a heat reflector and make something to close up your door. It can just be piles of leaves or whatever, but, you know, close up your door a little bit. You know, mine was a little bit smaller door, but like I said, this is just for demonstration purposes. But that V formation shelter is good for heat retention. It's good for, you know, having your fire outside of your area because of the V formation that it is. It reflects into, it keeps the heat inside. It catches the heat very well. So just to overcap, V formation to the front, you know, your bead logs to keep the front up, your roof support log, and then X the logs on the top, however many times it takes, and then build your sidewalls, and then do the formation on the top, and then put your thatching on, and then your roofing material. So that's my video. Still ended up 10 minutes on building a shelter. I actually cut the time in half by not rambling on. But, you know, nice for heat retention, easy to build. You don't need a whole lot of outside materials, and what I mean by outside materials are things that you brought with you. You don't need that. to build that shelter. You know, good for heat retention, good to get you out of the weather. Make sure that your entrance is never facing the direction the wind is coming from. So yeah, that's my opinion on a quick and easy winter shelter that you can build that you won't mind leaving behind. That's another thing. I'm not going to stay in the woods in the cold in a shelter like that. You know, that's, if I build a shelter like that, it's because I couldn't get to where I needed to be before you know, I needed to bed down for the night. But anyways, simple, easy, you leave it behind, good heat retention. Hope this helped the people on my website for some shelter ideas. You know, never rely on having things with you. Always try to build something simple and easy, you know, just because. The more you practice building simple and easy without extra materials, the better off you'll be. So anyways, that's my video on shelter. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to me on YouTube, and you know, hope it helped out the people on my Facebook site, Union County Preppers. It's not just for Union County Preppers. That's the name I came up with for it, and that's what it is. But it's for everybody to learn and learn with me and help me learn. And hope you guys enjoyed the video.